Video number 1, reporting from south of Flint in Michigan. Today is January 30th, 2014. The current time is 4:09. Those 2 containers of snow that you saw, I walked in the house with at 4:05. This bucket of snow I gathered from my backyard next to outside my door of the garage, and this baggie of snow I collected from the front yard out at the front end of my driveway. It's fairly cloudy out right now, cold and windy. I would imagine the last time I checked somewhere around the low 20s in temperature. Again, I collected these 2 containers of snow, walked in the house, immediately looked at the time to do a time check, and I walked in at 5 minutes after 4. So my goal is to see, first of all, how long it takes these containers of snow to melt. Now, the baggie I'm going to zip up after I'm done turning this camera off, because I want a sealed container and an unsealed container. And I'm going to pay attention to, 1, how long it takes this snow to melt, and 2, what the end result will look like, if there is any end result. Because based on what I've been seeing on the internet, the social medias, the snow not melting next to lighters and burners and fireplaces, I'm not sure what to expect now. I can't remember the last time I've brought snow in the house to see how long it melted. So we're going to give it a whirl and see what happens. I'm going to create another video when and if any final results occur from this. Again, I'm going to zip that bag up because I want that one sealed, and they're going to sit here or close to this area and be monitored. And I might take notes, I don't know. Again, time check is 4:12. That snow has been in the house for 7 minutes. One thing I am concerned about, more than whether it melts or not, I'm really going to be concerned with what the aftermelt is going to look like with this stuff. Now, I have not tried the fire test on this. I just saw somebody just to the east of me in Port Huron, Michigan, who did a snowball test in her fireplace, for Christ's sake, and it did not respond as we know a snowball should respond to intense heat from coals in a fireplace. So I'm not going to do a fire test. Yep, I'm going to do that. I'm going to trust my fellow man in that what I'm seeing is actually what's happening. So this is going to be my test. It's going to be a melt, how long, and what's left. This video right now is at 3:30, coming up on 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So I'm going to stop here and resume later. Over and out. Okay, time check. Video number 2. This is the second test. 6:05. The first test started when I brought the snow in at 4:05 p.m. January 30th, 2014. It's now 2 hours later, and I'm going to show you what we're up here, what we got here. This is the snow from the test number 1 video. The only difference in this view is I have a paper plate over the top of the bucket, because after I turned the camera off, I got thinking, I don't know what the give off on this is going to be. So I just put the paper plate on top of there. I don't know why. It was instinctive, if anything else. Okay, 2 hours later, if you compare the 2 snows, what it's done is it is not melted, it is clumped. It has clumped. There is no water It's clumped. There is no water puddling at the bottom of this bucket. Zero water. No melt off of water. Now, I'm going to show you the plastic bag to show you what's happening in here. The plastic bag is also clumping. And as you can see, there is no puddling in the plastic bag whatsoever. None. There is no water running in the bottom of this bag. Let me see if I can get a better view with that paper towel, but there is no puddle. That is zero water give off in this bag after 2 hours. But what it is doing, and this is what's happening in the bucket, you can see there is a melt. The melt is contained within the snow, moving upward, the dark, wet gray moving up to the top. So it is clumped, there is melt moving upwards, but there is no melt giving off into the bag. There is no water in the base of this bag. And there should be, you know what there should be. You've been around more than a day or two on planet Earth, you know what should be on there. Same as here. As you can see, no shiny puddles in the bottom. Just clump. So really, I wasn't expecting to do this portion. I was going to wait till this totally melted, but I wasn't sure how the melt was going to run on this stuff. So I injected this video in the middle to show you what this is doing. There will be a final video, I guess, unless something happens like the bag deteriorates or some type of phantom vapor shows up on top of my dryer or some shit like that. I won't do but one more video as when the melt is finished. There is a melt, but it's a strange melt, as you can see. No puddling whatsoever in the white bucket or in the clear plastic bag. The melt is moving within the snow. Okay, this concludes the end of test video number 2. Again, I'm south of the city of Flint in southeast lower Michigan. And that's 4 minutes into the test. So one more video when this is all over with, whenever it is, and I'll post this one as soon as I can. Over. Okay, test video number 3, 7:32 p.m. I didn't want to do this video either, but I'm going to try to make this quite brief. The last video that I took, test video number 2, I started running that 2 hours after my first video, which was 4:05 was the first video, 6:05 was my second video test start. That's 2 hours after, and somewhere between 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I came to the kitchen, looked in here, and I finally saw puddling in the baggie. And I looked inside the bucket, and I finally got puddling. Okay, I'm leaving this on here. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out. If you saw what I had in video 1 and then what I had in video 2, all the snow inside the containers were contracting, not melting, they were contracting. And any water melt that was going on was contained within the clump itself, saturating from the bottom up. So I think the last video I shut off at 6:10. I came in here about 40 minutes later, so that would have been 2 hours and 40 minutes after I collected the snow is when I saw puddling inside the baggie and inside the bucket. My guess is, I mean, you can send me 2 pages of information, I'm not going to read it. It could only hold so much moisture, and it just became so saturated that eventually this moisture you saw in these clumps that was building up had to fall out. And that's It had to go somewhere. And now we finally have water in the bag and water in the bucket. Now, I don't know what that means right now, but to anybody else who's performing some other research, doing some other studies, I can see where the implications of that relative to our Arctic melt, our Antarctic melts, the snow and ice elsewhere. If stuff like this is happening nationwide and the snowfalls that have happened and occurred, and more is going to be revealed about this, the implications of this water retention, this no melt, this gradual no melt, where what it did was it retained all the water melt within itself, leaving no puddles, no trickles, no trace of melting whatsoever until the ice, or in this case, contracted clump of snow could only hold so much water, and it literally fell out of it, creating finally what we call puddles or the snow melt. Now the implications of that on a large volume, let's say the Arctic, and the melts from that could be, it could be quite interesting from the snow and the ice. Implications like what? Like towards maybe flooding hazards, water retention in large bodies of snow and ice, this retention, and then it could even be triggered with RF microwave, and boom, you've got instant water fallout, flooding. It's crazy. I'm going to stop right there because I've given somebody out there who kind of knows what I'm getting at food for thought. I'm going to end this video. I think there's going to be one more, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the camera close to the bag after all this stuff is finally melted. Wished I had a water test kit, that's for sure, but I don't, and I don't know if I'll end up sending this batch in or not. Okay, the end. Yep, test video number 4. This will be my last one, unless something phenomenal occurs. Current time, 8:55 coming up. We've got a final overall melt in the bag. Actually, this has been melted for over a half an hour. The bucket is still showing a little bit, but you know what? Years ago, I've seen snow melt faster in a refrigerator. Yes, I have. So this final melt is occurring. I'm not so sure what I'm going to do with the water on these yet. I'll brainstorm and see what I'm going to come up with. But we have a final melt on the baggie. Again, this was finalized about a half hour to 40, I'd say about a half hour, 45 minutes ago is when last time I saw any snow ice float on the top of this water. So that's done. This is almost done. It's coming up on 9 o'clock. And just remember, I brought these containers in at 4:05 p.m. So you're looking at over 4 hours for everything to melt in here. Probably more like 4¼ hours for this to completely melt. And it's coming up on almost 5 hours. And this is not completely melted yet. So I'm going to post test video 3 and 4 together because that's the way it's going to be. So thank you for your cooperation, and I'm going to hold on to this water, see what happens. The end.